In what ways does your media product use, develop or challenge forms and conventions of real media product? The media product me and my group are tasked with creating this year is a film opening for a film in a genre of our choice. The film opening we decided to create was that of a horror film opening. We decided that we were going to stick to one of the genre's oldest conventions, tension. In preparation for this, I personally went and watched multiple horror film openings for many different types of horror movies. One that I found very inspiring was the film opening for the 1978 film Halloween by John Carpenter. This film became an instant classic back in 1978 when it was released, and a big part of this was through the tension that it created. In this film opening, we follow a young boy from a first-person angle. We see him first look through the window of his house, then walk in, grab a knife and go on to murder his sister. This created a huge amount of tension as we did not know why the young boy was carrying a knife, what he was going to do. This particular film opening also asks lots of questions. Why is the boy alone? Why would he kill his sister? And why would he be using a knife in general? All of these questions were very valuable to the director, as this is what grips an audience and creates a connection between the audience and the characters in the film. I also then watched the 2007 remake of the film, where the opening scene consists of us seeing an insight into the boy's life. Him murdering his pet and then going on to be abused by his family when he goes downstairs to breakfast. I felt that this was not the direction I wanted to go in for our film, so this wasn't of too much help to me and my group. One of the ways my film took inspiration from the Halloween film was the point of view shot that we used at the beginning of the film opening. However, we did put a spin on this as we portrayed the protagonist's point of view instead of the antagonist's. This point of view shot has become somewhat of a convention within the horror genre and is used in many films. Another convention which we stuck with was a secluded and dark setting. We gave the audience a glimpse of a suburban area and then took that away within the last scene as the character was taken to an isolated basement with minimal lighting. We decided to stick with this convention as we felt that it is one which will be very beneficial to our film opening. This is a convention which has worked well in many films, including the Saw franchise. The first film mostly takes place in a basement which is being used to keep the two men featured in the film captured. The location builds up a lot of dramatic tension and it adds to the film greatly. The sound in our film greatly sticks with the horror genre too. We firstly use a very gothic song at the beginning of our film opening, the kind which is classical, slow-paced and just typical of the horror genre. This is used in many films, including the 1978 Halloween film that I mentioned earlier. This example of non-diegetic sound is very important to the horror genre as it is brilliant at creating tension. Without it, it will be very difficult to create a dramatic scene for the audience. Concerning diegetic sound, we used an ambient soundtrack towards the end of the scene to create more tension within the scene. This added to the scene as we needed to create some dramatic tension we felt that the best way of doing this would be to add this ambient soundtrack. It's hard to give a single example of a film which doesn't have an ambient soundtrack within it, as almost every single horror film that I've watched personally has ambient added to add to the dramatic tension within the film.